Well, Tony, great to be back out here on the baseball field. Just, y'all coming off a really good season, even though y'all didn't make a postseason bid. But just what are the general expectations of this baseball program this year?
I think it's the same that it's been the last 2 years, just executing at a super high level constantly, trying to control what we can control, and just I think when we focus on doing that, a lot of things go right for us and we win a lot of ball games. So just kind of staying in the present moment and just executing for sure.
Being one of the pitchers on this pitching staff, just talk about the pitchers in general, just how have y'all kind of improved from last season heading into this off season?
I think as a staff, as a whole, I think we're a little deeper for sure. We got a lot of good dudes, a lot of physical dudes, and just a lot of guys with kind of an advanced understanding of just how to pitch, which is, fairly difficult to do. So I think we just have a lot of depth and a lot of guys that will go out there and get us outs, be tough guys, be strong guys, stuff like that. So I think we'll be good over there.
A lot of seniors on this team. Just what is it about having a bunch of seniors on this baseball team that kind of helps the team overall?
I think it's hard to win. I think as you get older, you kind of realize that. So just having experience winning games is, it's big. It's hard to win, no matter how talented or not talented or whatever you are. I think at the end of the day, it's just challenging to win, especially in this league. So having guys that have won at other places, guys that have won here, guys that have just been around the sport for a long time, kind of seen a lot of stuff, I think it's a huge advantage for sure.
Y'all know, short of getting big wins, you got those big wins over Texas and TCU last year. Just what do y'all, I guess, with this next season, obviously a lot tougher schedule. Y'all got the Brown Rock tournament, the tournament down in Houston, and then obviously y'all series with Texas and then the game with A&M. Just how y'all continue to kind of, with y'all's experience of winning big games, to kind of continue to stack those wins, especially when RPI these days has become so critical.
I think a lot of it is just stepping away from the idea of playing like a big school or like a big team or whatever. Because it's just, you're playing the game at the end of the day. Baseball's kind of nice like that in the sense that if you go out there and execute and perform, you're probably going to win. If you go out there and you don't execute and you don't perform, you're probably not going to win. And it really doesn't matter who you're going to play. So I think just kind of the experience of we can beat these guys or whatever, whether it's Texas or, we could go out there and we beat the Yankees sometimes. We go out there and we could lose to Little League team. It really just depends on how well you execute.
From last season, what was one thing that the team overall wanted to improve on as y'all head into this 24 season?
I think probably, that's a good question. I guess just controlling what we can control a little more. I think especially last year towards the end of it, when we were absolutely in control of our own destiny as far as getting into the tournament was, and we stepped away from actually trying to control what we could control, and we were let's try to string stuff together and get way ahead of ourselves and stuff like that. So just staying in the present moment, control what we could control, and I think that'll help us win a lot of ball games and get into the tournament for sure.
What is the key to, controlling what y'all can control?
I think with baseball being so complicated, being so complicated and just so much stuff going into it and so much stuff on the outside that you can't control, for us it's just trying to simplify the sport to as little as you can. For me as a pitcher, I can't even control whether it's a ball or a strike. I can't control the umpire, but I can control executing a fastball away. And if I can just execute more pitches than I don't execute at every outing, ideally I'm going to have some success. So
the Sun Belt over the past few years, it's not only become a great mid-major conference, it's seeming becoming one of the top conferences in the nation. I think they sent 4 teams last year. So basically, almost if you're coming in the Sun Belt, your odds of making the tournament are greatly. What makes the Sun Belt Conference such a tough conference?
I think it's just, you got a lot of dudes down here in the South for sure, and just the biggest thing for me in this league, I think, is kids can hit unbelievably well across the board. Even schools that haven't been in the tournament in a while, haven't been successful in a while. They got dudes all over the lineups that can hit, and so. The league's just, a lot of people down here really care about baseball. You see our fans come out, show up all the time. You see schools like Southern Miss, Louisiana, they're pulling 3,000-4,000 people to every game. So I think it just means a lot down here. Baseball in general, and then kids can hit for sure.
With the challenges, in a conference where, as you were saying, a lot of these players can hit really well, as a pitcher, how do you, try to control that and try to keep the damage to a minimum?
That goes back to just, executing, Same thing, I can't control if I throw my best pitch, I can't control whether it gets hit out of the stadium or not. And if I throw my worst pitch, I can't control if he rolls over to shortstop. You know what I mean? So for me, I think I just try to step away from results and just, like I said, I really try to dumb it down to where I just want to execute as many pitches as I can. And typically that means I'm going to have a good day.
You know, not only everyone else in Sunbelt can hit. I know Texas State can hit really well. I know the St. Marcus. St. Marcus has been a big thing the past 2 years. I mean, we're about to talk to Chase. I mean, you know about all this. But what does it feel like when you're a pitcher knowing that you got an offense that could?
Oh, it's awesome. It's really nice. Sorry. It's really cool when the guys can hit. I mean, absolutely. And I think back to like 2022, a lot of the times, and it just felt like we were going to win anyway. Like, it didn't really matter what the score was. We were probably going to win. And it kind of felt like that last year. You know, when you get out here and it gets sunny and the weather's nice, I mean, the kids can hit for sure. And as a pitcher, it really takes weight off your shoulders.
You know, now as we inch closer to the season, kind of, I guess, from my previous first question, what is it going to take for this team to kind of make the NCAA tournament? But not only make the NCAA tournament, but compete for that conference championship and get an automatic bid that makes things go a lot easier.
I think we've hit on so much stuff the last couple of weeks as far as stepping away from the sport and just getting into that kind of. Like I said, I stand on it. I think if we execute well and we control what we can control, this team could be unbelievable. Because I've seen us show up to inter squads and just hit the ball all over the place and make it a really bad day for us pitchers. And then I've seen us turn around and do the same thing where we can go out there and pitch really well and the hitters, you know, and that's obviously a sign of a good baseball team. Like, I think we got pieces everywhere. I think there's so much talent and I think we're so deep. And if we just control what we can control, I absolutely think we will make a tournament without a doubt.
Yeah, Tony.
What's up?
So you're one of the more tenured pitchers on the staff this year, and you've had the opportunity to work and learn behind Wells and Wood for the past season. What do you take from them? Have you learned from them to be a leader on the staff this year?
With those guys, I mean, it was just fun to watch them go out there and just kind of go to work, especially on the mound in the games. But I think, especially for Zeke Wood, that he was just so steady. Like, it didn't matter if he had just had, you know, there's so many times in 22 and 23 when he won pitcher of the week or something like that, and you wouldn't be able to tell whether he had just had a complete game shutout or a struggle, like a poor outing, you know what I mean? And so I think just being a steady Eddie and not getting too high or too low based on your success. And again, just kind of that goes back to, again, controlling what you can control. And I can control how hard I work every day, and that's what I try to tell the guys on the staff. And I think we all kind of buy into that mindset. And Wells is the exact same way. So just control what you can control. Don't get too high, don't get too low.
What's something that you had last season that kind of was key to success that you're wanting to make sure comes into this next season?
As far as myself or just the whole squad?
The whole squad.
I think we just knew how to win last year, and I kind of touched on that earlier. I mean, it's difficult to win for sure. So I think just kind of hunkering down and knowing that, you know, late in the game, you just execute your pitches and you execute your ABs. And even games I could think of last year that we probably shouldn't have won, that we were able to win. And then I think all the way back to 21, when I was on, you know, the worst team in school history, we didn't know how to do that. We didn't know how to win at all. And then you get to 22, and it never felt like we were going to lose. And I think a lot of that has just kind of spread down the line now. And I think that's what, just focusing on making sure we win the games we need to win, obviously, but just knowing how to win the games that maybe we shouldn't win or the close games.
So I'm just wondering, like, how do you typically, like, prepare in the off season, and is there anything you did differently this year?
Personally again, or the whole
yeah,
team?
Yeah, personally, or the squad, if you notice anything.
For me personally, it was a lot more kind of speed training and power output training as far as getting into just being more explosive on the mound. Because, I mean, I think pitching is just like a snap of the finger thing. Like, obviously there's a lot that goes into it with the windup and the leg kick and everything, but at the end of the day, it's how quickly you can get from one position to the next is how much success you're going to have, at least in terms of stuff and makeup on your pitches and stuff like that. And then I think as a team, we just spent a lot of time, you know, honestly away from the field. We just spent a lot of time together as a group and built like a really good bond. And then that carries into workouts, that carries into difficult Friday mornings, that carries into, you know, doing stuff we don't want to do. When you just like the guys you're around, it absolutely makes a difference.
Tony, you're a part of that 22 team that made it to the Stanford Regional. I know last year y'all wanted to go back, but what does it mean to have a bunch of seniors who are part of that 22 team be part of this 24 team to kind of give like some of the younger guys who never got that experience before?
It's it's intangible for sure. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but it's just knowing how to win, because winning is hard for sure. And that year we absolutely knew how to win, and I think last year we knew how to win a lot of games that we didn't maybe deserve to win or something like that. And so just kind of spreading that on to guys. And obviously, I mean, we're super talented, and so the guys that have been on super talented teams in the past, it's just if you can kind of spread that steadiness of just don't get too high, don't get too low, control what you can control, and know how to win.
Chase, I mean, I don't know much that can be about your freshman year. I mean, I don't know. I've seen a freshman player kind of made the impact that you did here at Texas State, but just what are you going to try to do for an encore for your sophomore season?
Just staying in the present moment. I mean, it's still about coming out here every day and grinding to get better. So not getting ahead of myself, just staying in the present moment and keep battling every day with these guys.
Now, I know during your freshman year you were kind of coming off an injury and all that stuff. Just how's your body feeling now during the sophomore season?
My body's definitely feeling a lot better. I feel a lot more physical at the plate with the workouts in the off season, with nutrients and putting on the extra weight that I needed for this season. So doing those two things has really helped me feel amazing right now.
You know, going over this offense, obviously a lot of power, like not only from you, but I think several guys on this team. Just what was one of the things during the offseason you all wanted to improve on heading into 24?
I guess, I mean, the biggest thing was probably the strikeouts last year. Like in certain moments when we needed that hit, we would fall behind or strike out, and I think that was the biggest thing with Trout, and what Jerry was preaching to us this fall is stay in the middle in the field and really working on a two-strike approach, so in those bigger moments when we need that hit, we come through with it.
You know, y'all came really close to making the tournament, and then, like, towards the end of the season just kind of fell apart. What are y'all trying to do to kind of avoid what happened, like, late in the season in 23 and try to improve on it in 24?
Definitely just don't get, like, complacent. Like, don't get complacent where we're at. Like, every day we come out here and we got to keep going. You got to – don't ever – like last year when we beat Texas, I think that was a big moment for us, but we didn't let it carry. Like, we kind of got stuck in that moment, and I think – from there, we've got to build. We've got to keep going. We can't be complacent about where we were in that moment. I think you've got to come out here and grind every day and forget about what we did yesterday and go to work today.
What is the key to not trying to stay complacent?
Really, like Blakely, he talked last week about, and during our culture meeting, and it was like the climbing to the peak of a mountain. Like, don't take it big steps at a time. Let's take it one step at a time. And really, that's like, we come out here today. Today is a new day. We don't worry about what we did yesterday. All we're worried about is today.
You know, with this team this year, having a lot of senior leadership this year, what is it like to have like a bunch of seniors that you can kind of lean on and all of that stuff?
I think it's really good. There's a lot of experience in the locker room, so I think that helps out a lot. And like Roby was saying with the winning is hard. So like those guys coming in that have won at different programs that have won here, I think that helps out a lot with us younger guys, and they're teaching us how to win and do that kind of stuff.
You know, we know a lot of faces on this team. What are some players you think that are probably going to make a name for themselves this year that we probably not heard of?
Transfer in, I think it was out of Ohio, Alec Patino. He'll be at first base. I think he's going to be a really big help in the middle of our lineup. And then obviously the freshman Ryan Farber going to hold down the leadoff spot for us. He made a big splash this fall. I think he ended up hitting like 480 or something. It was way up there. I mean, kid's incredible. Then obviously you got like Dalen Pena from last year, Davis Powell, Cade Manning, August Ramirez is going to be big help in the DH role and catching. And then Rashawn Galloway, I think he's going to have a big splash this year, a big breakout year. So.
You know, that infield was a lot of young players. I know you were at second base, Dalen, you know, Rashawn, just a lot of young. What is it like now that all of y'all have kind of had like a year of the playing experience under your belts?
I think it's just the experience part. I mean, understanding how the season goes and how it goes up and down, and you got to stay neutral through it all. I think that's big for us coming back and understanding that with that experience under our belt, just to stay neutral through the whole season.
You know, we were talking to Tony about how the Sun Belt Conference is just almost a brutal league. I mean, it's almost every series you go into, it's almost must win because how critical the at-large bids are. What makes the Sun Belt such a difficult conference?
I mean, like Roby was saying, the baseball in the Sun Belt it's crazy. I mean, even like he was saying with the fans and everything, that brings the energy. And then just, I mean, they know how to play baseball. I mean, they know how to go to work every day, and it's like we can't let them get one step ahead of us. We got to stay one step ahead of them and just keep grinding every day and go win as many ball games as we can.
I got one question. I'm just wondering, like, are there any particular players you look up to on the team that, like, you model your game after, or just look to for advice?
I mean, definitely like Roby being here for as long as he's been. I really look up to him and how he carries himself. And then Cade Manning is another big one that I look up to all the time, is just the way he carries himself, the way he takes care of his body in the off season and during the season is something I really look up to.
And then is there, like, anything you did differently this off season to prepare yourself?
Definitely just tried to put on more weight. That was a big thing for me, and what the coaching staff wanted to see was put on a little more weight just so I could hold that through the season.
Why was putting on more weight kind of critical for you during the off season?
I mean, at times last year, there's times that my body was fatigued just because I was the small guy, and I mean, just holding on more weight will help me stay strong throughout the whole season.
You know, I know you weren't a part of the 22 team that made the NCAA tournament, but I know there's a lot of young guys that want that taste of being in the tournament. What is it going to take for this team to make it to the NCAA tournament? But not only that, but also compete for a conference championship and get that critical automatic bid.
I think just buying into the process. I mean, buying into what the coaches are preaching to us every day is just take it one step at a time and never get ahead of ourselves or don't worry about what we did yesterday. Just there's always a new day. There's always something to look forward to, and just stay in the present moment and keep working every day.
I know one of the big mottos you'll have is CATS, and I know that's been a big thing that everyone kind of rallies around, but can you talk about what CATS stands for, like why it's become such a kind of rally cry for you?
So yeah, CATS is, we have CATS today, CATS for life, so that, like, it'll take you on past baseball. You can carry that into your family, you can carry that into your job, and then C stands for compete, win this pitch. A is attitude, so that's bring the juice. Toughness. T is toughness, and that's good. So just anything that bad happens, it's always good. We don't ever like dwell on a bad moment. It's just good. That's good. And then selfless is team success leads to personal success, and that's a big thing. I think that's probably one of the bigger ones is don't ever let yourself get ahead of the team. Like, we're all still a team here. We're all fighting for the same goal. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Chase. So after breakout seasons, there's always expectations that come along with it for the next season. How are you handling expectations that may be on you for this year?
Just staying in the present moment, staying humble with what I've got going, and just never let myself get too high, get too low, just stay neutral through the whole thing. And I think the biggest thing my dad preaches to me every day is just stay humble with everything that's going on.
You know, a lot of momentum with this baseball program. I know the donations have been coming in, building this new indoor facility that's been kind of talked about what was really needed. What does it mean that so many people have kind of gravitated towards Texas State, not only Texas State baseball, but also softball as well, to be able to give y'all the money to basically help y'all improve what y'all need, like in the Sun Belt, where it seems like everyone's just trying to make sure they've got the advantage of the
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to have that kind of support from those people, and I mean, with that facility, it'll definitely take us to the next level, and we're ready to take that step to the next level. And just having the indoor cages and all the new technology and everything, just, I mean, it'll be the thing we need to take this thing to the next level.
Well, Coach Stroud, you know, always great to be back here at the ballpark. I know you're excited for a great 24 season. Just looking at the team during the off season, during fall season, just what are your expectations for this team? Even though, like, the general expectation is to compete for the Sun Belt championship and get back to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited about this group. You know, 22 new guys. It's a lot of new faces in the program. But to me, it probably starts with our 18 seniors, right? A lot of leadership. A lot of guys have been through the battles, and so it's been fun to watch those guys kind of become an extension of the coaching staff, right? There's a lot of leadership out there, a lot of things that they know how that we expect things. They know how we do things. So some things are said just amongst the guys instead of the coaches having to stop it and to make things happen. So really excited about that part of it. And then really excited about just the talent this team has. I think it's a very deep team. And we'll see when we get into the battles and see how it works out. But just from an everyday basis, I feel like we're deeper at each position we've ever been. A lot of options on the mounds. And so we'll have to figure that out as fast as we can during these preseason tournaments and in these games. And, obviously try to win while we're doing it before we head into conference.
how critical is it having that many seniors on the team? Kind of what you're saying, they kind of almost like extra coaches that you don't have to worry about, like, when someone's having a moment, they can take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. They've been through the battles, right? They've been 0 for 4, they've been 0 for 10, they've given up some runs, whatever it might be, and so they can help those guys through it. And so I think on the positive side, there's a lot of leadership, a lot of guys that could help the new players or the young players with their previous experiences. I think the scary part is what if those guys struggle this year, right? How do they respond to that? Because that's really something we've talked about a lot of just because you're a senior doesn't mean you're going to play, right? So we got really talented young players and transfers and all the above. And so to me, if it's all about the Bobcats all the time, we'll be fine. But so far, they've done a fantastic job leading our team.
That 23 season, everything was going so good, and then late in the season, y'all kind of fell off, and then the tournament wasn't what y'all wanted to do. What did y'all learn from that stretch of the season to kind of improve on for 24?
Yeah, you just got to keep playing, right? I mean, the season's such a long season. To me, everybody says you want to be playing your best ball at the very end. I don't know if I completely agree with that because I want to play my best ball every time we roll out. So the games in February are just as important as the games in May. Now I get it conference tournament-wise, you want to try to win the tournament. But for us, we're just trying to go out and be competitive every time out. So I thought, at the end, was it, guys just trying to do too much? Obviously we ran into some really good teams as well. So, but at the end of the day, you just got to find a way to stay present, show up every single day with the same energy, the same effort, and more importantly, go out and execute the game plan.
The Sun Belt, with the addition with all the new 4 teams, it feels like it's now just a much more brutal league than I think a lot of people realize. It feels like every series, it's almost a must-win because how competitive it is. What makes the Sun Belt such a great baseball conference? Yeah,
I mean, top to bottom, it doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing. If you don't play well, you're going to get beat. And so for us, we talk about it all the time. One, because I feel like we're a talented group that it never matters who's in that dugout. It can be Texas, it can be Lafayette, it can be Marshall. It does not matter who we're playing. If we show up and we play good baseball, we're going to have a really good chance to win that day. If we show up and we don't play well, there's a really good chance we lose that day. And I think that's the beauty of majority of college baseball, but especially the Sun Belt. And so every team is working really hard in the recruiting side of it. You see programs like Marshall opening their $25 million stadium. Excited to go up there and see that, and other programs. And so to me, it's just there's no easy wins, and that's exactly how you want it to be. And why the Sun Belt was in the top 5 RPI last year.
Yeah, RPI's kind of become a big thing these days. I know, like, even not talking about baseball, we know volleyball, they always go out to schedule tough teams. Softball goes out and schedules tough teams. What is it about keeping your RPI high? Just why is it so critical these days? Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all trying to be an at-large team. And so I only set really one goal of our program, and that's to be in the NCAA tournament. And so if that's winning the conference tournament, if that's being an at-large team, that's our goal. And then once we make that, then we set new goals after that. And so hopefully along the way we win the Sun Belt Conference and win 40 games and all that stuff you want to do. But at the end of the day, that's our simplicity goal is what we try to set. And so, but yeah, we don't go to a game saying, hey, we have to win this game because it's a great RPI game, because if you're playing a team with a bad RPI and you lose that one, it kind of offsets the good wins. And so for us, we're just trying to go out there and win each day. And but yeah, as setting the schedule, you're going to have a great RPI league. So trying to be strategic a little bit in the off-season planning of the non-conference games is something I kind of look at. And obviously this year a little brutal with especially the Round Rock and the Minute Maid tournament, and the other teams are playing midweek and Sam and Youngstown. So, but at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So that's our goal.
Looking at this team overall, focusing on the pitching staff, what kind of excites you about this pitching rotation? Not only the starters but the bullpen. Like, what are you excited about, and what do you think they need to improve on as 24 rolls around? Yeah, I mean, to me, there's a lot of competition. I think that talks about through our team with so many new guys, so many guys battling for positions. Every day out, it's almost like, hey, I've got to make sure I bring it, because if not, that guy behind me is trying to take my job. And so, to me, that just iron sharpens iron. So you get in there, and every day you have a good day or a bad day, you got to find a way to continue to get better. But I think it's a really talented group. I think our job as coaches is to figure out, what's the best rotation, which guys can come out of the bullpen, which guys can come into guys with, on the bases, which guys can close games, and all that goes into them emotionally, who they are as people. And so we try to figure that out as fast as we can. And so at the end of the day, I think that the number one goal for all of them is to just see how many pitches they can execute, not get caught up in velo, not get caught up in all the metrics, just get caught up in executing, because they have good enough stuff to get anybody out they want to. Also looking at the defense, especially on the infield, I know last season it felt like there was just a lot of young players on that team. It felt like just juniors and almost freshmen that could made up that infield. With a year experience, have you felt like they've got better, especially going through the fall off season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with a guy like Davis Powell out there, he's just so consistent playing defense every day. It's a good guy to learn from and watch from. And then, of course, you had Chase, that's a really good defender. Alex Gonzalez is back. You got Aaron Lugo, who's a new player for us, Ryan Farber, multiple guys out there. When you see us take infield, it's pretty fun to watch. And so I'm really excited about our depth on the infield. And more importantly, they can all play different positions, right? We got guys like Peyton Benish, who's a senior, that he can go play any position really on that infield. And so for me, it's a lot of options, and that's what you want. At the end of the day, if we limit the free 90s, which is walks, about pitches, and playing defense, you're going to be in most games. And so for us, we take a lot of pride in our defense. That's one area that we've tried to concentrate on more to become a better team.
And then switching to the offense, obviously San Marcos has been really known for offense. What was something you wanted to kind of improve on with this team heading into 24?
Yeah, I mean, one thing with our group, I felt like last year, it kind of felt like if we didn't hit the 3-run homer, we were kind of chasing runs a lot. And so to me, we actually never talk about home runs in our program. It's more about just attacking mistakes in the field, driving doubles, hitting balls through the gap, and if it goes out, it goes out, right? So, but to me, coming up with that big hit, runner at second base, 2 outs, I felt like in the last 3 weeks of the season, we weren't getting those hits, and that's baseball sometimes too, but really trying to be just overall better hitters. And so the power's going to come, the number's going to come. At the end of the day, just barrel up the baseball and see what happens. And so just trying to be that a little bit better, well-rounded offense more than just that power offense.
What are the challenges? Obviously when you hit a 3-run home run, obviously everyone gets jacked up and they think like, okay, we're going to go hit another 3-run home run. What is the key to kind of getting everyone kind of calmed down? Like, as you were saying, like the power comes when the power comes. It's just concentrating on getting those key doubles and singles like you talked about.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 things. I mean, number one is just controlling what you can control, right? So you can, as we say, you can hit it hard and can't control what happens after that, right? You can land on it and hit it right at the shortstop, he catches it, or you can bloop it and get a hit, right? Baseball's a weird game, and so for us, just control what you control, and then more importantly, just stay in the present moment. We talk about our guys all the time. You got to get to the next pitch as fast as you can, and so learn from the previous one. Stay in the present moment. So if you get caught up in the 3-run homer or worried about the ninth or worried about the next game, this game will pass you by really fast. And so just try to stay as present as you can each pitch.
Talk about this non-conference schedule. Obviously, a really tough schedule. You got the Round Rock tournament, the Minute Maid tournament. Obviously, the series with Texas, a game with A&M. Just what was the idea of like putting this non-conference schedule together? Obviously, to get that RPI up, but just trying to challenge this team as well.
Yeah, opening weekend we got Youngstown State coming in. I knew them a little bit when I was at West Virginia. Not real familiar with them or their coaching staff, to be honest with you, but just found a team from the north to come down and play. And then we were been slated in the Round Rock tournament forever, and then Minute Maid called actually this past year and said, hey, we have an opening, and when those guys call, we go play. And so we had to shift our schedule around. Grand Canyon was actually supposed to return their trip. They're going to return it next year. And so there's a little scheduled bus next year, right? And so had to move some things around to make it work out. And so, and then, the 4th weekend, we're looking for another home series. And Sam was open, and obviously a great program that Coach Sirianni has over there. So just excited to be playing really quality opponents, and they're going to get tested really early heading into conference.
Yeah, I know this team's really hungry. I know they were really disappointed not making the tournament and not, getting one of those at-large bids. But what is it going to take for this team to kind of get where the expectations of 22 was, getting where y'all are being in the at-large bid and possibly competing for that spot to go to Omaha? Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. People ask all the time, Coach, do you have the feeling about this team you did in 22? And I tell guys all the time, like, I think we're good each year. 22, I had no idea we were going to do what we did. And so at the end of the day, we just need guys to kind of take that next step. And they can do it in practice. But obviously the most important time is when they do it in a game. When the lights come on, the stands get filled up, the opponents show up. How do they respond to that? And more importantly, how do they respond to adversity, right? We're going to have some injuries. We're going to have bad moments. How do we respond to that and continue to fight? And so to me, it's not necessarily their tools. It's more about who's going to take their game to the next level when the moment shows up.
Obviously a lot of support behind the baseball team and the softball team as well. I know y'all are really excited about getting this new indoor facility built. What does it mean that so many people are so excited about both baseball and softball that they're willing to donate the money to help y'all get to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, all the credit goes to our former players, right? We just had alumni weekend, and I told them the same thing. We wouldn't have all the things we have today, our nice uniforms, our Marucci gear, all that stuff, the new things coming, new things we have built right now, without all the hard work they put into this program, all the wins they had. That's players, coaches, staff, everybody in general. And so, but from our donors, supporters, former players, yeah, it means the world that they would spend their hard-earned money and understand that our program's putting the time in, and we can do something on a national level. And so we're really close in 22, really close last year, and I think that Development Center could take us to the next level and eventually get us to Omaha. So very appreciative of their support.
Yeah, Coach. Replacing quality arms, quality pitching is never easy, much less having to replace 3 weekend starters from last year, along with back-end bullpen piece Tristan Dixon. How confident are you that the staff this year can fill the holes left by Wood, Wells, Madrano, and Dixon?
Yeah, it's a lot, right? And I still run our offense, coach our hitters, and I love scoring runs. But I've never been on a championship team that didn't have really good pitching and really good defense. And so I think Coach Mass has done a great job with our pitching staff. Like I said, it's a deep staff, and we're trying to still figure out their roles a little bit heading into our last weekend of practice. But they're really talented, and kind of like I talked about earlier. How are they going to respond? Opening night, how are they going to respond against LSU? How are they going to respond against Texas, right? So some of these things we know, some of these things we don't know yet. And so that'll kind of be the learning curve as we get through the season and try to figure it out. But as far as arm talent and guys that have been through it, of course, you have some good veteran returners with Roby and Zabel and Bush and some of those guys that have been through the battles before and started for us as well. Stroud last year in the bullpen and looking to hop into the rotation this year. And so a lot of different pieces that can work out. And so really excited to see the new pieces, the old pieces, and hopefully it all comes together for a championship squad.
Yeah, and one more thing. Bobcats, obviously, they love playing here at home. Great home record last year. Road games, a little bit different story last year, sub 500. Is there a mindset that y'all go into with road games that are a little different to prepare for home games? Or how do you all attack road games?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the same mindset the last couple of years. Of course, in 22, we didn't lose a road game in conference, right? And we had the same philosophy going to it every year. And so to us, it's just all about the team, right? I love going on the road because, especially in the big environments when, it's just our team and our fans that show up. My favorite part's when we get a big hit or make a big play and the crowd kind of goes silent and all you can hear is the Bobcat faithful in our dugout. And so for us, it's kind of, bring your own energy games, right? You got to find a way to, the music's not going to help you out, the crowd's not going to help you out. You got to create your own energy and create your own edge. And so for us, we're trying to go in somebody else's house and leave there with the win however we can. And so to me, that separates teams that are really tough, and it's something we work hard at.
What would you say that this team has that's kind of different throughout all of college baseball that really just sets them apart?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one is probably 18 seniors. I've never seen that before. We had 14 returning, and then we grabbed 4 guys out of the portal that were all seniors as well, and so that's hard to find. And so to me, I'm really excited about that experience. Like I said, trying to figure out their roles and how it meshes together as a team is big. But for us, I think just that leadership piece is something that no teams can look at and go, hey, we have 18 seniors on our team. Football, yeah, maybe so. Baseball, not so much. So I'm excited to see how that comes throughout the season.
You said yourself that you grabbed 4 transfer seniors this offseason. How do you go about deciding what guys to go after? What's kind of the pitch like as opposed to like a high school? Is it any different?
Yes and no. To me, I always say I want to build our program with really good high school players. I feel like that's always, how you build it and sustain your culture, how to sustain their development as well. And then you got to supplement with junior college guys and now the portal. And so, to me, we're not just going to grab a guy because he's an older guy. We want to grab him because, maybe we've seen things or know things that can come in and help our program immediately. And so, especially, grabbing the 4 guys, it was, hey, they've had a track record of having success. And so, hopefully they can come in and help this team kind of take our game to the next level as well. And so we do a lot of background work on our guys, high school and junior college and transfer guys, not just kind of what kind of player we're bringing in, what kind of person we're bringing in as well. I think that's important to understand. You want to bring in the right guys, especially just for 1 year, you want to make sure that culture stays strong. And so, but yeah, that's a lot of it. Is, hey, like we're bringing you in to be impactful right away. If you come in and earn that job, you earn it, and nothing's given in our program. So hey, come in, hopefully have a great last ride with us, and you'll be a Bobcat forever.
Out of all these new players you brought in, who are some of the new faces you're really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. If I single out a couple of them, Alec Patino's been a really bright spot for us. Transferred in from Ohio University and left-handed hitter. He wears 23 as well, so a lot of people are going to think Jose Gonzalez when he steps in. But just a really good veteran hitter from the left-handed side. One of those other guys we brought in was Cam Thompson from Purdue. Had some big years there. Started at Oklahoma State, and so just another older veteran guy. And then, probably from the JUCO ranks, Austin Eaton came in and has been really good on the mound for us. And so he's been, 92, 94 with really good command. And so just a few of them to step in. But like I said, I'm excited about the entire classes we brought in. I'm really excited about our freshman class, to be honest with you. I think we hit the nail on the head on pretty much that entire class. So excited to see their progress not only this year, but also in the future.
Yeah, Coach, I was just wondering, how much you and the rest of the coaching staff values, underlying numbers, such as exit velocity, launch angle, or for pitching, how much their pitches move and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in this day and age, there's so much information out there. In our stadium we have, the Yacker Tech, which tells you everything about that baseball from the pitcher and off the bat that you can have. We do things in the bullpen as well. And so for us, I think it's important that there's information out there, but you can also have information overload as well. And so we kind of tell ourselves we're 50-50 new school, old school. I think there's a lot of things, especially on the pitching side of it, that you can use that technology to make your pitches that much better. Help develop your pitches, help throw them in the right area, help with your sequencing or your pitch dialogue. And so to me, that's really important. I think offensively, one thing they learn a lot of is the strike zone, because every pitch they throw in there, they get the report and look at it and go, yeah, that ball was off the plate, that pitch was on the plate. I think exit velo, launch angle, all that stuff is fun numbers, to be honest with you. We never hit a ball and go, hey, I want to make sure we hit it at 28 degrees. But some programs do. And so for us, probably the number one thing is exit velocity. We want them to hit the ball hard. And so if that goes a little higher, it probably goes out. If it's low, then it probably gets off the wall somewhere. So we use it in different stints, but we don't use it, all the time in every avenue.
Coach, just one last question. Are there any programs or possibly any teams that you're kind of excited to compete against this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's all fun. I think the Sun Belt, I'm really excited to go to Southern Miss. I've never been there. And so that's one, I'm always big at trying to play in every place possible. So I know that's one I've never been to. I've never been to James Madison. I played Marshall, but never been to this new stadium. So that'll be some fun trips to go to. Obviously Minute Maid, Houston, Texas, and then LSU should be some awesome crowds. And we've had some big moments there in our program's history. So I'm excited about those new challenges and excited what we can do.